People, this fight is 2.5 years in the making. It is literally 2.5 years in the making. And now we're roughly a month away from Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. I have to say, right, that obviously we all know the fallout about this fight in 22. It was meant to happen, I think, October 7th or thereabouts, 2022. Didn't happen. Didn't happen for obvious reasons. We already know about that. So the can has been well and truly kicked down the road until now. And I have to say, when this fight was originally announced, I think it was announced just after, maybe a day or so after the press conference for the last Crescendo. That was kind of the big talk around that press conference. Were they going to announce Ben Eubank there? Were they going to leave it? They left it for a couple of days and then ultimately they announced it. It's going to be on a Ring Magazine show. It is the first Ring Magazine show, well, that's been done really. So Riyadh season is pretty much going to be, for the Riyadh season shows that are going to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Everything outside of that is going to be a Ring Magazine show. So whether it's in the US, whether it's in the UK, they might go abroad to other places, Australia or somewhere like that. But this is the first one. It's got an undercard. It has one of the best fights on the card, and I'm hearing it's going to be, which is a shame really, because I'm hearing Chev Clark versus Vidal Riley. They don't know the exact running order, obviously, but I'm hearing it's going to be kind of closer to the start than it is to the end, which is a bit of a shame because when you look at the undercard, that is the fight that really jumps out at you. Chef Clark, Vidal Riley. It's a great little scrap. I think it's going to be really entertaining. CBS is obviously on there. Liam Smith versus Aaron McKenna. Let's see what Liam Smith has left in the tank. He'll be keeping an interesting eye on the main event, I would imagine. If he gets the win, you never know what might happen. And then obviously we have the tremendous scrap, which is Anthony Yarde, Lyndon Arthur Trigg. We all, we love a trilogy over here, and we all wanted to see that, didn't we? After the rematch and the compelling viewing of the first contest, which was a thriller for the ages, wasn't it? It was 12 rounds you will never, ever forget. Yeah, not buying it? Nah, look, can't fault the guy for trying. But that's the undercard. The main event, obviously, is Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. And as I said, when this was originally announced, and you got to bear in mind, it's not just the fact that the fight was binned in 2022, we all know why, and then they've just made it now. No, you're talking 23 and 24. They've been, in particular last year, they have been trying to get this fight over the line. And it has seemed like a very forced fight. I'm not going to lie, it has seemed that way. Going into this fight, originally when they announced it, I was kind of like, well, it basically is a very much a forced fight. That's certainly how it feels from the outside looking in. But it's been really kind of pushed on people, and that, will they have an easy enough time selling out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Because you got to remember, the first proposed fight was going to take place in the O2. Now, it probably would have done good numbers in the O2, but going from that to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, you're going to a stadium, it's a big difference. Well, the first two press conferences, in particular the first one, Egggate Part 2, he egged me. That right there sold this fight to the general public. That one moment, that one act just sold this fight to everybody. Because at that moment, that was all people were talking about. Oh, did you hear Chris Eubank Jr. egging Conor Benn? He hit him with an egg, and some people say he got fined, obviously, saying it's the best 100 grand he ever spent. You had a lot of people saying, he shouldn't have done that, the fine was deserved. You have other people saying, it wasn't anything that could have, necessarily damaged him per se. It wasn't like a knife or glass or something like that. So there you go. And Eubank Jr. choosing the egg of all things. That's the thing, he chose the egg. Because we all know Conor Benn, that was the excuse, and it was a very poor excuse, but it was an excuse nonetheless, for why he failed those 2 PED tests, which we still haven't never fully got an explanation for, but I know. The second press conference was, on any given day, that second press conference would have been, eyes on, and that would have been the main one. And it was so overshadowed by the first one, even though the second one was pretty good. And I think after those two respective press conferences, that was it. The fight was definitely sold. And I'm not going to lie, seeing the way, more so Chris Eubank Jr., because he's really been, the one who's been the most vocal and the real seller of this, seeing how he's done things and how he's sold things, it is making me very much compelled to watch it. I'm not going to lie. It's a fight that I've an intrigue in. And I think, not in a good way, I understand it's not in a good way, The rehydration clause adds a little bit more of an intrigue. I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying it's good. I hate rehydration clause. I don't like them at all. But I think going into this fight with the way Conor Benn has been, like, as I said, Conor Benn is not bright. He's an emotional character, very much like his dad. And Chris Eubank Jr. is just giving Conor Benn a rope to hang himself constantly. And he's just doing it every time. You know, he's so emotional. When you saw him on Piers Morgan, you were just like, mate, like, you're everything Chris Eubank Jr. wants you to do, you're doing it. Every little bit of bait he's giving you, you're biting on it. And that has me thinking he's going to go into this fight reckless as anything, burning out lots of excess energy early, and it'll probably be there for the taking as the fight progresses. The only thing is, though, rehydration clause. That's the one thing. And that is the leveler, so to speak. And that's why I'm a bit kind of, how is this going to go? So for that reason, I'm kind of a bit up in the air on this. And as I said, it's become more intriguing to me. I think just because of how they've sold this fight, you know, there has to be something said for selling stuff. You know, when you have a fight that, yeah, the general public, I think, are interested in, but even that, you know, they're crazy interested in it. And then you see what they did at the press conference, and then it just kind of, there's what people are doing when they're kind of, Eubank Jr., Conor Benn, yep, but it's like that. It goes up. So this is going to do good numbers, I've no doubt about that. And I think a lot of fan interest is definitely, I don't even think it's necessarily even peaked yet. I think it's going to probably peak on fight week, because God only knows what's going to happen on fight week. I mean, we are going to have security left, right and centre for this. So for me, a very intriguing fight, a month away. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's getting more one of those fights that I'm looking forward to seeing. What do you guys think? We're a month away. I want to touch on what people have been saying about Chris Eubank Sr. Now, he has said he will be there, but he's made reference in the past about this fight not taking place. Surely not again. I mean, if it happens again where I'm not even going to say, you know, a failed test or anything like that. If something happens where one of them gets pulled again, surely that's going to be a fork in a job. Surely. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. For now, people, I will leave it there. Let me know. We're 1 month away. Looking forward to it. Excited, indifferent. Leave it all in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. And until next time, as always, peace.